the Economic Club of Chicago and Bloomberg both invited Vice President Harris to a similar interview about her economic plans. She has declined so far.
Oh, she declined. Kamala doesn't want to talk about her economic plans with Bloomberg? Is she hiding from the press? What is she hiding from? It's SuperTalk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You see, that's been the talking points in the past couple of days. Donald Trump is hiding. He's hiding from the media. What? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Now they're highlighting that he canceled a CNBC interview. Okay. So now he's not mentally fit. Okay. All right. Hey, you do you. I was watching President Trump yesterday at the Economic Club of Chicago doing that interview with Bloomberg, and saying he's not mentally fit, that wouldn't be the way I described it. In fact, I think that he was just absolutely as Trump as he could be. And there was one moment where he just roasts Bloomberg. I mean, he roasts them. Absolutely roasts them. Inflation comes up. They're trying to tell him that his policies are going to cause a lot more inflation. And essentially, Trump calls Bloomberg fake news right to their face.
You said, President Trump, at the moment, there is a thing called the Trump trade in the markets. Do you know what that is? The Trump trade is very simple. People are betting that your policies are going to drive up debt. They're going to drive up inflation. So they're going to drive up interest rates. Are the investors wrong?
Yeah, I had 4 years, no inflation. But
that was when you had much.
I had 4 years. It's better than that. And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is, okay? Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken sailors. They spent so much money. It was so ridiculous, the money they were spending. They were spending on the Green New Scam. The Green New Deal. You know, it was conceived of by AOC +3. She never even studied the environment in college. She went to a nice college. She came out, she just said, the Green New Scam. She just named all these things.
But President Trump, the issue the markets are looking at the fact you are making all these promises. Latest one was car loans. You're flooding the thing with giving giveaways.
But we're going to grow.
I was actually quite kind to you. I used 7 trillion. The upper estimate is 15 trillion. People like the Wall Street Journal, who's hardly a communist organization,
but you don't know.
They have criticized you on this as well. You are running up enormous debts.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong.
You're trying to turn this. You've
been wrong about it.
You're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people.
But you're wrong. You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff. Let me tell you about currency. You're going jumping.
You've been wrong about this stuff your entire life. I love it. Here's the thing. Trump has 4 years to stand on. Trump has a record to stand on. A record with no inflation. A record that had the economy booming. He has a record to stand on. And he gets up there in Bloomberg. I mean, he says it in his nicest little British accent. Oh, you're going to drive up the debt. It's like, come on. Who do you think is going to do better? Who do you really trust? I love Trump here, man. He's just as Trump as he can be. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. I love it. A couple topics were broached, right? They covered a lot of issues. They went to the border, the economy, but what really caught my eye in the beginning was him talking about the election. And one of the stories he brought up was that Virginia voter roll story. I'm sure you've heard this. The state of Virginia wanted to remove illegal aliens from the voter roll, and the DOJ decided to sue them for that.
I just haven't gotten over something the Justice Department did yesterday, where Virginia cleaned up its voter rolls and got rid of thousands and thousands of bad votes, and the Justice Department sued them that they should be allowed to put those bad votes and illegal votes back in and let the people vote. So I haven't gotten I haven't gotten over that. A lot of people have seen that. They can't even believe it.
I haven't gotten over that. A lot of people have seen it. I just can't believe it. That's Donald Trump talking about this lawsuit that has been filed against the state of Virginia. And it's a crazy story. I'm sure you've heard the other guys talking about it. We mentioned it a little bit as well. But Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, is slamming the DOJ for suing Virginia over removing non-citizens from voter rolls. Wasn't it just a couple days ago, Mayorkas is saying, we would never import people to vote. We would never encourage illegal immigration so they could vote. Yet at the same time, Virginia's governor, Glenn Youngkin, is slamming Biden and Harris's Department of Justice because they're suing the state over implementing what the administration called a systemic removal of non-citizen voters too close to the election. But the crazy thing here is that this Virginia law requiring this removal process, it's been happening since 2006. Glenn Youngkin was on CNN, and he was schooling Jake Tapper on exactly what's happening here and the DOJ's efforts to block Virginia from removing non-citizens, illegal aliens from its voter rolls.
Why not just honor that 90-day period?
Well, let me just first begin. It's anything but a purging program. It begins with someone identifying themselves as a non-citizen. And I guess I would posit back to you, do you think that non-citizens, when they've self-identified as a non-citizen, should stay on the voter roll and therefore be in a position to potentially vote in a presidential election?
I don't think any non-citizen should vote. How are they self-identifying? How does that happen?
They actually tick a box that says, I am a non-citizen, or they do not answer the question that they are a citizen. And therefore, they self-identify that they are not a citizen in the United States of America. And this is why this is so out of bounds in my mind from the Justice Department. They fully understand this. They understand the process starts with a person self-identifying as a non-citizen, and then there is a match with that person's name on the voter rolls, and they are given not just one, but up to 3 times in order to try to cure it. And this is why I find this to be a very, very unreal moment that is stunning, that they filed this suit 25 days before a presidential election, when in fact this has been going on in accordance with our Constitution, the federal Constitution, and state law since 2006.
It's been happening since 2006, but it's a problem now because they're worried about the state of Virginia going for Trump, right? So this law has been on the books since 2006 to remove people from voter rolls who, and I quote, self-identify as non-citizens. They are self-identifying as non-citizens, and the DOJ is suing the state to keep them on the voter rolls. Can you make that make sense? Does that make any sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me, and they filed the suit 25 days before a presidential election. It feels like election interference to me. Does it feel like election interference to you? So anyone who is a non-citizen and identifies as such when they go to the DMV to register to vote in the state of Virginia is required by law to be removed from the rolls within 30 days. They use this same method leading up to the 2020 election. No big deal. But now it's an issue. Again, feels like election interference, does it not? On the other side of the country, you got Gavin Newsom, and he's making it illegal for you to ask for an ID when people vote. He's got this crazy voter ID law, and that came up as well. You got to talk voter ID, right? And Trump calls him Gavin Newsom, and the host, the editor-in-chief over at Bloomberg, actually corrects Trump. It's a pretty funny moment.
How about this? Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California.
Newsom.
He signed Newsom, I call him.
Yeah. But do you think?
No, he corrected me. He corrected me. I said,
There are
the first time I've been corrected.
There are CEOs out here. If they said those sort of things about a rival CEO, they'd be sacked. Do you think it's
but
fine
they don't
for
have
a
to
president?
survive like me. They don't have to go through what I have to go through. There's never been a president that's been treated like me, so I have to fight my own way.
Love that.
You made a.
I gotta fight my own way.
You made a very good. You made a very good job of.
He signed a bill in California 2 days ago that you don't even have the right to ask a person for voter ID. And if you ask a person for voter ID, of course you have to show voter ID. The only reason you wouldn't do, because they want to cheat. The bill says you cannot, it's against the law for you to ask a person, may I please see your voter ID when he votes? What is our country coming to?
Yeah. What is our country coming to? So on both sides of the country, you got the DOJ suing Virginia. On the other side, you're not allowed to ask for an ID. What is the country coming to? Oh, we don't want non-citizens to vote in the election, guys. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. Are you keeping score at home? I hope you're keeping score at home. And then the question came up that always comes up with Trump when he's dealing with media that doesn't like him, which it happens to be the majority of the media, about a peaceful transfer of power. A peaceful transfer of power.
Only 3 weeks to go to the election. Will you commit now to respecting and encouraging a peaceful transfer of power?
Well, you had a peaceful transfer of power.
You had a peaceful transfer of power. You had a peaceful. Come on, President Trump. You had a peaceful transfer of power compared with Venezuela, but it was by far the worst
What a
transfer of power for a long time.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because this is what they like to do. This is what they like to do.
It's very interesting. The question, President Trump, is: would you respect the decision?
When I found out about this interview, I did a little check. He's a man that has not been a big Trump fan over the years. So I had a choice. Do I do this interview or not? I'm glad I did it. But do I do this interview or do I disappoint a lot of people? Because I know a lot of people in the audience. But his view is very different than mine. Let me just say.
I'm asking you a question, Professor.
We had a term. Peacefully and patriotically.
Absolutely.
These were people. If you think an election is crooked, and I do, 100%, if you think the day it comes when you can't protest, you take a look at the Democrats. They protested 2016. They're still protesting it.
Right.
Nobody talks about them. But if we protest, we want to have honest elections.
That shouldn't be a big ask, but it is. It certainly feels like it is. And my favorite part of that clip was when he goes, and I do 100% believe the election was rigged. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it.